Hey, it's Michael with GLG America, and I'm continuing my case study on the Project 200. And today I want to talk about how to expand your Project 200 to get even more names in it than we initially included with our friends and family and other people that we kind of knew. So before I get into exactly what I did, I want to kind of talk about why this step is important. And when you create your Project 200, you're probably not doing it on an independent basis. I mean, you might be like I am. But a lot of times, if you're completing this Project 200, you're only doing it because somebody else is telling you, hey, you got to do this Project 200 and we got to get in front of those people so you can get some people to sell, and you got to make some money, and there's pressure from other people trying to get you to do it, and there's pressure because you need to make money, and then there's only so many people to call. What happens is that all of this stuff creates unneeded tension in your prospecting system. And when that happens, your prospects, they feel it. And when they feel like they're going to be pressured into doing anything they don't want to do, you can bet that if they weren't willing to meet with you to begin with, they're really not going to want to meet with you then, because they can tell. I don't know what it is, but people can really tell when you got to have something from them. They tend to go, well, I don't want to meet with you and give you that. So one of the ways that you go about kind of making sure that you get rid of that tension, number one, if you're working independently, it's a lot easier. And number two, if you're not in a situation where you gotta have a paycheck. Those are probably the two crucial things. But more importantly, I suppose, than those is that you gotta have plenty of people to call. 100 or 200 names really, while you can get started with those, that's really not enough people. So how many people do you need? Well, I think you need 2,000 or 3,000 people in your Project 200, to be honest with you. And how do you go about getting those names? Well, a lot of times you could just buy a list, I suppose. But what I did, I used two things that you can maybe do to build your list, and I'll kind of walk through those two things. So the first thing I did is that I wanted to make sure that if I was going to work with anybody individually, that I had a connection to them geographically or through some sort of occupation that was similar. And so fortunately for me, I live in a pretty big neighborhood that's part of an association, and so I know how to get a hold of all those people if I need to. And so we'll talk about how we're going to do that later, but I'm going to add those names to my list. And so there's like 1,000 people there on top of the 100 or 200 that I've already got. In addition to that, from an occupational standpoint, I'm a member of some trade associations, and one specifically I have a really good connection with as far as just a long history kind of in that industry. And so if you look back at your connections, your affiliations, your jobs, that's a way that you can kind of go, hey, maybe that's an area that I can kind of explore too. And so that's what I did. And through that association that I've worked with and some others, then I've got another 1,900 people that I can kind of fill my bucket up with. So that gives me probably more than 3,000 names that I can add to my list, and I can have addresses and phone numbers. And then over time, as I meet new people, as family members and connections kind of come into my life, then I'll be sure and add those people to the bucket too, because you got to kind of keep it filled with new people, and also with people that you get referred to, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. So that's how I expanded my Project 200. A couple ideas for you on how you can maybe do that too, and then I put those in a spreadsheet so that I kind of know what the source of them was. And after we get down here, then we'll kind of start talking about how to approach your prospects once you kind of have got everything in place. So if you got any questions, let me know. If you haven't subscribed to these videos, be sure and do that. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks.